In this video, we're going to be talking about practice mutes, and more specifically, this one, the UpMute. Before we do that though, I thought it might be kind of useful for us to talk about a few scenarios that you might find yourself in that you could use a practice mute to help you out.
Oh my, let's go! Great weapons only, baby!
So obviously, I'm joking with those examples, but there are a number of reasons that it is a good idea to have a practice mute. The first example I can think of is if you live in an apartment and you have neighbors who aren't fans of loud brass instruments, a practice mute can go a long way in allowing you to practice at any time, day or night. Another reason to have one is if you travel a lot or you're headed to an audition or anything like that where you may be staying in a hotel. This kind of tool will allow you to play at any time during the day, and it's probably not going to wake anybody up. And you're definitely not going to be making more noise than a TV that's turned up all the way. So I think you'll be good. So I have here the UpMute. This mute was sent to me by Houghton Horns and they wanted me to check it out and see what I thought. So for me, there are two considerations when testing out a practice mute. Number one is going to be how easy it is to play. I myself have not played a ton of practice mutes, but many of the ones that I have been pretty stuffy, or the intonation is kind of all over the place, and so it almost becomes unusable. You might as well find a different option than just playing with that mute. And the other consideration is how quiet it is. How much does it reduce the overall volume from the trumpet? So to check out how free blowing this mute is, I'm just going to play a couple of basic things on the trumpet when it's open, and then using this mute, and we're going to see how's the intonation, does it sound as free blowing, stuff like that. So as you can hear with those recordings, it sounds pretty true to an open trumpet. It's not the exact same thing. It's not quite as free blowing. The intonation is not quite as good, but I don't think the compromise is too much to manage. Moving on to the volume reduction portion of this video, I'm going to play the loudest excerpt I can think of open, and then I'm going to play it with the mute. As you can hear, the volume reduction on this mute is pretty significant, so I think it definitely checks that box for a good practice mute when it brings it down that much. I think I like this mute pretty well. It's incredibly soft, It's not too bad to play. It feels pretty easy to play. Of course, it's not the same thing as having no mute, but I don't think any practice mute is. I don't find myself traveling a lot these days, so I'm not needing to play in hotel rooms, and I live in a house with people who seem to be relatively tolerant of how loud my trumpet playing is, and so I don't really find myself needing a practice mute. But if you need a practice mute, I would definitely check this one out. All right, I think that's gonna be all for this video. If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed me going through it and hearing this mute and hearing me talk about it, I would really appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe to the channel, and let us know down in the comments what you thought as well. I have a whole bunch of other review videos on Houghton Horn's channel, so make sure to check those out if you haven't seen them, and we will see you in the next video.